What's up, everybody? Welcome back to From the Crypt. I'm Derek, and today I'm talking about the second video in my 100 horror movie scratch-off poster project, which is also the 66th film that I have seen off of the poster. Now, Wreck is a Spanish found footage film that was directed by Jaime Balaguero and Paco Plaza, and it was released November 23rd, 2007. So, before we go any further, I'm going to say I'm talking spoilers about an almost 17-year-old movie, and I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of some names. So, I apologize in advance, but I'm not perfect. Let's hit up the super quick plot synopsis. A reporter and a cameraman follow some firefighters around one evening, and chaos ensues. Where did I watch Wreck? I couldn't find it on Peacock, Paramount, any of my usual places. So I did end up having to rent this off of YouTube. And I will tell you in advance, if you rent off Amazon Prime, it will save you 40 cents. Yeah, I know. Big frickin' whoop. Who's in it? Now, just to name a few. Manuela Velasco as Angela, Pablo Rosso as Pablo, Farron Terraza as Manu, David Vert as Alex, or as I know him, the flying firefighter, and then Jorge Yaman Serrano as Sergio, the young douchebag cop. So, what's good about Wreck? It doesn't start off super intense by any means, but holy shit, man, it gets there. This movie knows when to punch it, when to pull back, give you a little bit of a breather, and then when to throw you back into the deep shit with not letting you go. The pacing in this movie was awesome. And one thing that I think we could directly tie to the pacing is it's only 78 minutes. I didn't realize how short of a movie this was. But in that 78 minutes, they cover a lot of ground. And it's intense. I mean, that's the best way I could possibly describe the movie. It's super intense. And I feel like if this would have been more like 90 minutes or even longer than that, then it would have lost a little bit of its magic, just because it didn't need to be a 90-minute movie by any means. I thought the performances of the cast was great, and there were quite a few people in this movie, because it's a bunch of tenants stuck in an apartment complex with a zombie virus outbreak. I like that the zombie virus was essentially rabies. Now, there is one sequence in the movie with a firefighter falling from like the third story down through the stairs into the floor. I'll admit, I laughed at that part. I'm kind of a dick, I guess. It took me by surprise, so it wasn't like I'm laughing at Jim Carrey or Will Ferrell. It was, shit, what? So that was awesome. And then the little boy in the attic, when the guy, he essentially takes a camera and is just recording, and then they're going to rewind the footage, see if there's anything up there. I knew the little boy was, or not the little boy in particular, but I knew somebody was going to be up there. And it still kind of made me jump a little bit, which does not happen very often in these types of movies. So that was actually kind of a very welcome jump scare. What's bad about Wreck? The only thing that I have isn't even necessarily a knock on Wreck. But my main complaint from the movie is its American adaptation, Quarantine, which came out in 2008. Part of the reason I never watched Wreck in the past was because of Quarantine. And I'll get into that here a little bit later. But when the American adaptation of the film has one of the shots from the closing moments of the film, which, I'm talking spoilers, before she gets drug off into the darkness and then the movie's over, that is the dumbest decision that you could possibly make. Like, that's like, oh, hey, for Nightmare on Elm Street, let's just have the poster Nancy walk into the car with Glenn, Tina, and Rod waiting in it, and then Freddy's already got Marge most of the way in the window. Like, absolutely freaking stupid. It really does ruin the end. And seeing Quarantine before Wreck, I knew what was coming. Now I know you could be like, well, Derek, like ring and ring you know what's going to happen. Yeah, I know, but it had been long enough since I'd seen Quarantine. Kind of the only reason I still remember the ending is because of its poster, which in turn hurts Wreck's ending as well. Long story short, I wish I would have seen Wreck before I saw Quarantine, and I probably would have ended up ranking Wreck much higher. But we'll get into that later. Now, as I previously mentioned, Quarantine was obviously the American adaptation of Wreck, and I saw it back, I think it was 2009. After watching Wreck, I will say I am tempted to go back and re-watch it at some point because I did really enjoy Wreck. But my first initial watch of Quarantine, that this was a throwaway, forgettable found footage movie, because at that time we were getting so many of them, and it just... they were all kind of bleeding together at that point. If you were around during that time period, I hope you feel the same way, because yeah, it was just like, oh sweet, another found footage movie, awesome. Would I watch Wreck again? Yes, and I plan on going through its 3 sequels as well. Would I buy it? Yes, and assuming that I like the 3 sequels even 75% as much as I like Wreck, I really want to buy like a box set or collection of it, and obviously, yeah, add it into this collection behind me. What score would I give it? I'm going to go with an 8.5. I liked this movie more than I honestly thought I was going to. Had great pacing, great performances, and the found footage aspect of it did really work, because shaky cam just helps bring out the intensity and the craziness of what's going on. I would highly recommend this movie too, by the way. And anybody, it doesn't matter if you're just a fan of horror, fan of zombies, fan of found footage. If you haven't checked this movie out, you really need to make sure that you do. One final thing before signing off, and I forgot to mention this during the end of my Let the Right One In review, and it's not even really a mention, but ask, what movie should I do next? I still have quite a few movies to go, and I'm basically just going from newest all the way to oldest. So if somebody sees something in there like, I don't know, the Christopher Lee Dracula, I feel like a lot of my friends have, like, why haven't you watched that yet? Or even like House on Haunted Hill. And it's just, everybody has gaps. You haven't seen everything, so don't pretend you have, because I know I definitely haven't. But if there's anything in particular that somebody sees on the list, which I should be posting on the screen right now, please drop it in the comments. Let me know. I will definitely jump out of order, because there is no real specific order. Alright guys, that'll do it for Wreck. If you enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like on it and subscribing to the channel as well. We're always looking to grow the channel, and likes, comments, subscriptions pumps it into the YouTube verse, and yeah, then we could do more fun stuff. Also, make sure to let me know what you guys thought of Wreck, and let's have a talk down in the comments below. So, until next time, guys, have a good one.